1996-ին երբ Գորիտ եկավ Իրաքս մեծ հերոս, նույնպես Թեհլիրյան։ Ուրիշ զեյթունցի հերոսներ ունեցած ենք, ամեն բան չեմ գնալ իշել այստեղ, սակայն գիտեք, որ մեր ծառայությունը մեծ եղած է մեր ասկին այդ իմաստով, այո, ռամբեց։
I'm going to ask this in English. So,
yes.
You indicated, or you said that it's the Armenian Evangelical Church started in 1846.
Yes.
How did it start? I mean, out of a vacuum? How did you start?
No.
What did you follow some other churches or something?
No. There was a reform movement that began with the Mekhitarist Armenians, and the Armenian Apostolic Church also had a reform movement. So they started a seminary in Istanbul, and they started reading the Bible. It was during this time that the American missionaries came, it was a little earlier than that, came and tried to evangelize. Their original idea was to evangelize the Turks and the Jews and the Muslims, of course. When they did not, they said they should evangelize the local people so that they can reach out and touch. So there was a little movement in the Armenian Apostolic Church, in the seminary. There were 12 scholars, students who were studying, and they started learning about the reforms, what the Bible really means. The church had become extremely traditional, ceremonial, and they raised questions. Finally, when they had many other questions, unfortunately, the bishop or the patriarch of the time, Patriarch Shukhajian, threatened them, eventually excommunicated them. They had to organize themselves and become a church. Our original intention was to remain in the Armenian Apostolic Church and to become a leaven, but that did not become a reality, unfortunately. We were forced to leave the church, and that's how the Armenian Church started, evangelical church.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Mark.
Thank you very much for the lecture. And mine is not a question, but probably a comment. I believe you had 14 points, right?
10. I have 10 points. I could go to 14.
I guess I counted 14. My comment was an emphasis rather than categorization as you had it. And that was that you mentioned the school systems, the colleges, and so forth. But one thing that I think is a major contribution, or at least I consider it as a major contribution, is the professionals that were the product of all these colleges, who ended up running the economy and so forth of that region. And you mentioned in all names that most of them appear post-genocide rather than pre-genocide. The numbers that I'm talking about is the pre-genocide period.
Yes.
And I think that maybe it makes sense to elevate the 10 to 11 and emphasize the economic aspects of the professionals, engineers, doctors, and the like.
You have to realize that the Armenian Apostolic or Catholic Church did not have colleges. We had 8 colleges. And from these colleges, many graduates went into different areas of life, engineers, doctors, ministers, professors, and so on. At one time, I don't know the exact proportion, but a great proportion of the Armenian intellectuals in Turkey came from Armenian evangelical colleges.
They had the lion's share.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah.
Who financed all this?
Pardon me?
Who was the financier?
Financier of what? Oh,
These churches. or-
okay. Well, I must say that, as I said, they were, the American board was behind all this. Of course, Armenians learned to give. As I said, tithing became a commonplace among our churches. 10% of our income went to the churches and to our institutions. But we are very grateful to the American missionaries as well.
What's the difference with American evangelists and Armenian evangelists?
American evangelicals?
Armenian and American evangelists, what are the differences?
Well, let me tell you, there is no American evangelism. There is American Protestant movement. And among the Protestant movement, there are many denominations. There are Congregationals, Methodists, Episcopalians, and Baptists, and many others. So there wasn't an Armenian or American evangelical movement. There was the American board, consisted mainly of Congregational and Presbyterian ministers.
Harold,
Those conditions or those reasons that existed 169 years ago in the Apostolic Church are not there anymore. Apostolic Church has modernized, and they have Bible studies, Sunday schools, and all of those that we value. Is there remaining reason for us to be separate from the mother church?
Oh, well, churches, all denominations have their differences. I mentioned one important area, and again, I don't want to undermine my Apostolic Church or our Catholic Church. Our main difference is our commitment to Jesus Christ as the basis of membership of what it means to be a Christian. Many a time, my argument with my Armenian Apostolic priests, many of them are friends, is that I say, when you belong to a party, what do? At first you become as someone who's an adherent, but there comes a time when you take an oath. We take our religion very seriously. When someone wants to become a Christian, you know that we have communicant membership. Someone makes a clear commitment to Jesus Christ, submit his life to Jesus Christ, say, I want to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. That's one difference. In the Armenian Apostolic Church, the idea is if you're baptized, you're Christianized, you become a Christian. The idea is you are born with the original sin, Adam's sin, and through baptism, it is wiped out. Adam's sin or original sin is wiped out, and you begin with a new slate, and you become a member of the church. Many a time they do not even make a commitment. In our church, I'm not saying we're perfect. I said that from the very beginning. We have many Armenian evangelicals who do not take their religion very seriously. But here is a clear difference. We believe in a commitment. Just as you become a Tashnag, you are committed. You become a Ramgavad, you are committed. So much more. When you become a disciple of Jesus Christ, you make a commitment. It's a serious business. And that's one area. Another area, I don't underestimate. In fact, I like the liturgy of the Armenian Apostolic Church. I wish we could keep some of them in our churches. but there is too much ceremonialism. You know, last Sunday we attended an Armenian Apostolic Church. I mean, I've always said, you know, week after week, the same sharagans, the same theme, the same badarak, which is good, but what are people taking from there? Fortunately, there are some very good, educated ministers or priests who are giving good sermons, and people are benefiting from that. And to their credit, I really appreciate it.
And the writings of the church are no different than what we write. The teachings, the writings, the monthly publications.
Well, there are some theological differences, but we're not going to dwell on that. For example, the veneration of Mary, the mother of Jesus. For us, Mary is a very respected lady, highly venerated, but we do not seek her intervention or her mediation through prayers. That's another area.
There was a question.
And there are other areas.
Yes, in the back.
Me?
Yes.
I have a question about the education in various denominations of the churches. To what extent was Armenian evangelical movement, at least their members participated in education, at least high school and above that? Is there any information to that extent?
How many people were educated?
To what percentage of population was subjected to education, higher education?
Well, I can tell you a lot of. We come from Kesap. It's a remote area. In those days, there were no roads and no one. Your grandmother went to Aintab College. My aunt went to Aintab College, and many other Kesapsis. It was unheard of in those days that women would go and graduate from colleges. That was great, and many people really benefited from the education system. I don't know the percentages, but a large percentage was really educated.
There's a question here. No? Any other
Just
questions?
one question.
Yes.
Yes,
We do not have a hierarchy as far as the clergy is concerned.
yes,
That perhaps it's good and bad. It's
Yes.
bad in the sense that we are too fragmented. In your opinion, which is better, have a hierarchy or not to have a hierarchy?
I wrote a book, my 37th book, incidentally, which was released. You're going to get a copy. There are benefits as well as there are not so many benefits in that. Fortunately, we have now a system, the Armenian Evangelical World Council is in a way a substitute for hierarchy. We don't dictate to our church because our churches are based on freedom of thought, freedom of worship. That's one of the basic tenets of Armenian Evangelical Church. Our churches decide who they are going to hire, who they are going to fire. A bishop does not tell us, this is what you're going to get, whether we like it or not. So there are benefits and there are also some disadvantages too. Yes?
Yes, there's a question. Just like, in the American universities in the East Coast, we have the seminaries in Princeton or Harvard. As the leader of the Armenian Evangelical Church, have you ever thought to propose theology proper, Christian theology, to be a discipline, for example, like Yerevan State University, as an area of academic scholarship and discipline to become have a chair, have an academic area of study, systematic study of theology?
Let me tell you that in the old country, before the genocide, we had 3 theological seminaries. now we have one that we share with a number of other partners, with the Arab Protestants, Presbyterians, with the Anglicans, with the Methodists, and so on. In the Near School of Theology, we have a curriculum that more or less is trying to do that. It's not typical Armenian theology, but it's Protestant theology.
Any other questions? One
Yeah.
question. Yes. Have you reached to the U.S. Department people, the state people, to help the Christians in Syria and Lebanon?
We-
Some activities going on?
Yes, I personally have written to President Obama. I understand that he did not answer many questions, many letters. He acknowledged mine, but I did not even answer back and thanked him because he gave me an alibi on what they are doing. But there have been really constantly. We have written to our senators. We have two good Armenian-loving senators in Michigan and to many others. Definitely, we have done our share in that.
Yes.
Who were the leaders for Knights of Vartan? You mentioned, but you didn't mention the names of the ministers.
Baveli Bedikian was one of them. Andramit Bedikian, Khazoyan. There were a few others now. By name I don't remember, but I have recorded them, and they are about. And there were a couple of lay leaders too.
And what was their mission?
Their mission was to really help the Armenian people. They realized there is a lot of discrimination, as well as there are, people were losing their identity. They wanted to create a pan-Armenian organization to keep the youth and the Armenian people.